Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 61 of my story. So, my friend, she eventually leaves prison. She never copes with being there. She never had a phone call where she didn't cry. She never had a visit with her kids and her mom where she didn't cry. And when she left out that door that day, she was still crying. And sadly, she was the only person that I had seen that I actually knew that was like that, because normally people will cry for a while and then eventually they come to terms with, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going to be. And I found myself at one point during my incarceration having a very hard time sleeping at night. And I had already probably moved rooms maybe 3 times at this point. So it wasn't the moving of the room. It was just, I think that being incarcerated and officers coming around flashing flashlights at night while you're sleeping. And it's like they're talking loud when they enter the room. And like I said, it was a unique structure. So it was like a hotel, and we were living in a hotel setting. So there was a door that they would swing open. They didn't care if you were sleeping. I think it was very intentional that they wanted to wake us up. Not all officers, but there were some. And so I would find myself, if I just seen a light, because I'm a light sleeper, if I heard footsteps or steps or anything, I would jump up. And it probably had a lot to do with, my relationship with my ex and attempted home invasions and things like that. I was just worried all the time. And I went over to psych one day, which is normal. When you first come to prison, you go and sit down within 30 days and just speak to psych. And I had already done that process. I was well beyond that. And I ended up going over to psych and sitting down with a psychiatrist and basically explaining to her that I was having a very hard time sleeping at night and that I felt like it wasn't normal for me not to be able to sleep at night. So here I am sitting down with good old psych, and I'm explaining to this lady that, since I've been here and it's been a while now, in over 2 years now, I have not been able to sleep at night, and I'm starting to get worried about not being able to sleep at night. This lady is telling me I can prescribe this to you, and I'm like, what is that? And she's telling me, and I'm just like, basically, I don't want to be on anything like that. I thought with me going over to psych and sitting down and talking to her, that she would sit there with me and kind of ask me, how I'm doing, how I'm coping with being incarcerated, but that never happened. So my visit to psych was useless. That was like my second time going there. I never went again. And sadly, at this time, I'm talking to one of my daughters. And my daughter is like, Mom, I want to ask you something. And so I'm like, yeah, what is it? And she was like, do I have a different daddy? And so I was like, no, why would you ask me that? And so my daughter was telling me, well, I've been talking to Pops because my older kids call their father Pops. And so she's like, I've been talking to Pops, and Pops told me that, he still loved me. I'm like one of his favorites and everything, but that it was a possibility that I wasn't his daughter. And so I was like, are you serious? He told that to you? So at this point, I get mad. I'm like, you know what? I don't think you should be communicating with him. I don't feel like you should be talking to him if he's going to sit on the phone with you when he get on the phone with you and he's telling you these lies. And she was like, yeah, he was saying, your mom, she used to leave all the time. I don't know where she was going. She was disappearing, and I know she was going to be with her man. And so I was like, there was never a man. And I don't understand, why would he lie like that? Well, around this time, he was asking for DNA tests on my minor kids. So, of course, at this point, my family is having to do what I'm not there to do. They're dealing with the paternity issue, and they're taking these kids to get these paternity tests, but they're pretending like it's just a routine doctor's visit. They don't know what's actually happening. And the tests are taken, some time passes, eventually results come back in. And when the results come back in, it's just a slap in his trifling face that, you cannot be excluded, period, as the father of these kids. And I just feel like he was being very trifling at that time.